Hi everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Today I am finally filming my 4,000 subscriber Q&A video. So if you like Q&A videos, welcome. I don't know how long this is going to take. Q&A videos can tend to get quite long, so I encourage you to grab a snack, to grab a beverage. I also have my holiday beverage right here. I've got the questions that people sent me both on Twitter and on YouTube on my phone. So let's just get to it. I'm going to take all the questions that I got from Twitter first so then I don't have to scroll back and forth between the two platforms. So we'll do Twitter first, then we'll do YouTube questions. The first question comes from Lee Nicole. What's the biggest lesson I've learned on booktube so far? That's such a good question. The biggest lesson that I've learned on booktube so far, I think, is to actually, if you're a booktuber, to take care of yourself first. So often we see booktubers on social media, whether it's on their channels or on Twitter, talking about feeling a little bit burnt out, feeling like their content is not being engaged with, and then it causes them to struggle with should they continue making their content. I also see just some crappy comments being left to people. I haven't had many crappy comments personally, but seeing some of the comments that people get on their channels is just baffling to me. And I always think that just by making sure that you take care of yourself first, fill yourself up first and then meet the needs of others. You'll have noticed that like on my channel, every now and again, I'll take a few breaks because just things happen in my life. I've gone through 2 family funerals since I've started my booktube channel, which is insane to me, but I had to take some time off to deal with those issues. Work gets crazy because I work full-time and do booktube. So if I were to focus on the fact that if I'm not churning out 3 videos a week constantly, people are going to stop watching me, that's not true, because sometimes I haven't been as consistent as other booktubers, but I have a really great group of subscribers, and y'all are there to still watch me whenever I need to come back or whenever I need to take a break. So that's what I've learned so far. Rachel the Shades of Orange asked, what are 3 bookish buzzwords or phrases that make you immediately want to pick up a fantasy book? Wow, that's so hard. Okay. It's not necessarily like a buzzword or a phrase, because at this point I feel like I will read any kind of fantasy that you send my way, but I also don't want to waste time on fantasy that I'm not interested in, or not just fantasy, but I guess any book. And one way that I will like immediately filter out a book is if the description on the back or on the flap takes like way too long to get to the point. If you're going to take 5 paragraphs on the back of the book to tell me why I should be reading this book, I immediately check out. Because if you can't get my attention when you need to the most, which is going to be within that first paragraph, then I'm out of there. And I guess the kinds of buzzwords, like, it's mostly going to be titles too. I think titles more than anything will grab my interest and then I hit the back. So the last book to really do that to me and pay off dividends is this exact copy of Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This was my first copy. Now I have 3 copies of this book. So first of all, the title, Assassin's Apprentice, right there got me because I do like assassin stories. And then I flipped to the back and it says, young Fitz is the bastard son of the noble Prince Chivalry. So immediately I'm like, okay, you're an assassin and you're a bastard son. That I think was like all it took for me in the bookstore to grab this. And as we say, the rest is history because now I'm hooked on this entire series. Jean from Happy Indulgence. When do I normally film my videos? I film all of my videos on the weekend because I don't have like studio lighting. So I have to have natural light in order to film and get this stuff done. So I normally film, like, the way that my apartment is situated is I have to wait for the sun to pass through, otherwise I'm going to get the sun right in my face in my video. So I have to wait for the certain light to hit, and it's usually like between the hours of 1 and 4. And if I don't get it in between the hours of 1 and 4, I'm completely screwed. It's too dark. I have to film on the videos, so that's why I pre-film, and you'll see me in the same outfit in multiple videos, because I pre-film and get all of my videos for the week filmed at one time. So it's either Saturday or Sunday, and if I don't do it either of those days, I haven't gotten my filming done for the week. Okay, Ashley Ketchum said, if you could be in Lachlan friend group for a day, what kind of shenanigans would you want to get yourself into? That's a very good question. You know, honestly, if I was in Lachlan friend group, I would just like want to hang out in their like underground lair and make food with them. That was honestly one of my favorite scenes, when like Locke and Jean are introduced to their living quarters. I would play around in their costume closet. I would want to make dinner with them. Like, I wouldn't actually want to do any of the jobs that they do, because I just felt like they had so much fun when they were at home together. And we just never got that many scenes of them being home together and being just like hanging out. That's what I would want to do. Okay, Scott from Book Invasion said, what book have you learned the most from? Which author would you like to write you as a character? That one's easy. Robin Hobb. Done. Okay, what book have I learned the most from? I don't know. I think it's gonna be like an older book in my collection. Oh, Luna, you wanna help me? Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, puppy girl. What do we got over there? We're gonna get lipstick on you? Oh. Okay. She tackled me. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, I cannot think about the books now. Okay, I think I was gonna say The Giver. It could have been The Giver. It could have been The Kite Runner, that like really brought like social problems to me. Versus, because you know, I'm in fantasy world like so much. So I probably learned the most from books that also like really had great social problems brought to the forefront. Oh, Luna. Ooh, this just completely, not derailed our video, but definite destruction. Okay, Trisha McCullough. What book surprised you and you ended up loving it? Anything in the Folk of the Air trilogy, The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King. I'm not gonna lie, I was like totally judging it and judging it just being like one of those YA craze books. And is it a YA craze book? Yes. But did I enjoy it? Yes. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I couldn't even tell you why. I fell hard for it. I couldn't even tell you why. Okay, Jessica Friels. So what was the first fantasy book I read that made me love the genre? That would be The Hobbit, written by J.R.R. Tolkien. If it wasn't The Hobbit, it was also, if we want to go back to like childhood books as well, it was also going to be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe remains one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. The Hobbit is also one of my top 5, just like top books, are The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and The Hobbit. I have this beautiful illustrated edition of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe from my mother-in-law, and she like didn't even know how much she knocked it out of the park when she got me that whole illustrated set of the Chronicles of Narnia. And I was like, how did you know? And she was like, I didn't know. All right, Beckle Panda, at Beckle Panda. What are some books or series I've discovered and loved because of BookTube? Wow, there are quite a lot. You know, I'll say that The Strange the Dreamer duology, that was another one that I was just thinking that I was kind of judging it. I just didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And I gave both of those books 5 out of 5 stars. I really encourage you to listen to those on audiobook because the guy who narrates is super dreamy. Like a super dreamy voice. The Wayfarer series, that was definitely something from BookTube. I would not have picked that up on my own because it's more sci-fi. But because I was also judging the BookTube SFF Awards, I had to read the 3rd book for the award show, but I hadn't read the first 2. So I read the entire trilogy this year. So that was definitely 100% because of BookTube. Jade Bedtime Bookworm. What is one of my favorite tropes to read? Well, this one I knew that was one of my favorite tropes, and then when I started picking up, I guess, the Wayfarer series, it really like hammered it home. But I really love artificial intelligence units grappling with their humanity. I eat it up every single time, and I've done that since like watching sci-fi. I've watched a lot more sci-fi than I have read sci-fi, so that's why Illuminae like really spoke to me. Aiden really spoke to me, and the rest of the trilogy didn't really do it for me because we didn't have Aiden. Mystery Date with a Book. Okay, my question is, if your life was a book, what would it be called? Well, at the time right now, my book would be called Luna's Hair is in My Mouth, because Luna's hair is in my mouth right now. I just washed all my sheets because Luna's hair was on my bed. There's Luna hair all over my carpet. There's Luna hair all over my clothes. There's literally Luna hair all over my books. And so when I'm like filming these videos and talking about videos, I really hope there isn't like Luna hair flying everywhere. So at this like snapshot of my life right now, my book would be called Luna's Hair is in My Mouth. Crack Into a Good Book said, what non-bookish things do I like to do for fun? It's gonna be jujitsu, so if you haven't followed me for very long and you haven't heard me talk about it before, I also do Brazilian jiu-jitsu with my husband. I've been practicing martial arts for a very long time, so I really like to do that for fun. But then like my fun stuff kind of surrounds that. So like we usually get together with our jiu-jitsu friends, we watch the fights together, we go out to dinner. I probably eat dinner more with my coworkers and then my jiu-jitsu friends than I do with my family. Okay, so that concludes all the questions that I got from Twitter. Now let's go over to the YouTube questions that I got. Okay, the first question comes from Carter Family. If you could only read 12 books a year, one for each month, what would they be? If I only could read one book per month, and it would take up the entire year, it would be The Realm of the Elderlings. I wouldn't be able to finish The Realm of the Elderlings because there are 16 books in total, but if that was my choice, that would be my choice. It would just be The Realm of the Elderlings all year long. Okay, Faye Alexandria. What's my life like outside of booktube? This fall is just kind of like an anomaly for me. So I mentioned that like I've been on booktube long enough that I've had 2 family funerals go on, which is just crazy. So like outside of that, I work way too much. Oh, hey. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Ah, you win, you win. My life outside of booktube has also been dealing with this little nugget. She came to us in July and she's still quite young. She's turning 1 this month. So it's training and living with a dog and trying to adjust the life of 2 working adults around a puppy's schedule. So I work regular hours, so I go to work during the day. I come home, try and do my chores for the week. I really like to just like relax on the couch. When I come home from work, I'm literally just like on the couch, either watching Netflix, I'm watching YouTube videos, or maybe I'm reading during the week, but not really until I go to bed. I do jujitsu with my husband, and then like I said in that other question, on the weekends it's pretty much like, what is the gang doing? What are we doing? Going out to watch the fights at someone's house or at a bar, or watching some type of sporting event. I do a lot of sporting events, and that's just because like I have more male friends than I do female friends. I myself will do a lot of like my stuff on my own time, you know what I mean? Like my girl stuff that I need to do that's not just sports related. So like shopping, watching TV shows. I do that on my own time, and then of course I'm filming. Filming is like what I do for myself. Diane Paulmanter says, what book or series would I enjoy seeing as a movie or TV series, and what's one good thing they would have to do to make it good? Okay, I don't want to be like a broken record, but it would be Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings, but specifically I think they should just take the Live Ship Traders trilogy as its own TV show, because there are so many good characters that you could have a really great cast. It's about pirates, it's about magical dragons, it's about magical talking ships. Like, this has all the bones that you need to make a really great TV show. And you just not have to have crappy effects. Like, you just have to have a studio that has the money to make this come to life. Because if you're gonna have magic ships, if you're gonna have dragons, and you can't have cheesy, crappy pirates either. So yeah, all of those things. Okay, Sierra Dickerson, have I read the Green Rider series by Kristen Britton? I haven't, no, but she totally recommends them. Okay, Amy, what are some of my favorite books from my childhood, aside from Harry Potter, and do I ever reread them as an adult? My favorite book series from my childhood would be The Chronicles of Narnia, specifically The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Every now and again, I do reread that just for kicks. The Giver is also a really big favorite of mine overall in my entire life, and I do reread that once in a while. I haven't reread it probably for a couple of years. Another childhood favorite, Bread and Jam for Francis, which is like a picture book about a little badger. My friend got that for me, I think, for like my 21st birthday. It was hilarious. I did read the Boxcar Children. I read the Animorphs books like crazy. I haven't reread those in a long time. The Little House books, I'll reread the first one quite a bit, just because it makes me nostalgic for being back home in Minnesota. Oh no, Sachi Asrani, my top 10 favorite fantasy series. I'd probably have to do a video on that one. I don't think I could do... I really have to think about it because there's some new favorites that have come into my life, and whether or not I want them to be completed series or like ongoing, you know how it goes? But I mean, Realm of the Elderlings will be in there, Raya Revelations will be in there, Game of Thrones will be in there, Lord of the Rings will be in there. So there's at least 4, but I really have to think about what some of the newer ones will be. Trista, what other hobbies do I have besides reading? I've mentioned those, being jujitsu and generally like martial arts in general. Evelyn Camacho, was there a book that really got me hooked into reading? That's hard to say because I've always been a reader ever since I was a kid. I really looked forward to like the book fairs as a kid. My grandfather, I've talked about this before, he really did a big job of like gifting us books when we were younger, and just instilling that love for education and that love for reading in us. But I was always a reader. There was never like an instance of me discovering reading, because I think I always read, even as a little kid. Like that Bread and Jam for Francis book that I mentioned. I checked it out from the library so many times that my parents like forbade me from checking it out again because they wanted me to read something else. Which is such a silly thing to forbid a kid to do, but anyways, yeah, I had always loved reading. Okay, Valeria Andrea, tell us about my favorite bookstore in the city where I live. The bookstores that are really around here are either Barnes & Noble or Half Price Books. So of the two, I would prefer Half Price Books because I believe that why would you pay full price for a book when you can more than likely like find it at a discount somewhere along the way. There has to be like a really, really compelling good reason for me to get a brand new release and pay full price for it, because even if it's a brand new release, I'll still try and wait a little bit to see if I can get it on sale. So I like Half Price Books, but I do like browsing around Barnes & Noble just for the experience of walking around, having Starbucks in my hand. I really enjoy that experience, but there aren't that many bookstores around here that I would say like are real standouts and like really unique. I tell you, the best bookstore I've ever been to in my life is Powell's City of Books in Portland, Oregon. I only got to spend an hour in there because my mom said that we had to go eat lunch, and I was very mad. I was like, what are you talking about? We just got here. So if I could have a chance to go back to Portland, which I probably will, but I would go back to Powell's in a heartbeat. Okay, Christine Heckman. Oh, she just said she wants me to know that I'm one of her favorite booktubers. Thank you. Okay, Sydney Ellison, favorite character from the Realm of the Elderlings. It would either be Night Eyes or Paragon. So like the non-human characters. Night Eyes or Paragon, they're the two characters that like really get my heart going whenever their stories come across the page. I love a lot of characters, but I love Paragon and Night Eyes. Okay, and the very last question comes from Supergirl. What is my ethnicity and how old am I? So that's a good way to wrap us up. My ethnicity is that I'm Hawaiian, Chinese, and a dash of Norwegian. And I am 32 years old. I'll be 33 in January, which is absurd. I don't know what I've done with my time that I'm almost 33 years old. Clearly I read, I do jujitsu, I drink Starbucks, I play with my dog, hang out with my husband. Thank you to everyone for submitting your questions. Thank you so much for helping me pass the milestone of 4,000 subscribers. I couldn't do it without any of you. I hope you really enjoyed this Q&A session. It got a little crazy there for a little bit because of the dog, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Let me know how things have been going on in your life in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to follow me on my social media, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. It's at whatcassread, the same as this channel, so it should be super easy to find. And then of course, my Goodreads link is below, as well as my book club Goodreads link, the Big Ass Book Club, that is also listed down below for you. Otherwise, you know how these videos end. I'll talk to you later. Bye.